This is a throwaway. I'm at my wit's end, and my whole family is acting like I'm insane, and I really need some outside perspective on this. Apologies if this gets long. I, F22, am currently living at home with my parents and working part-time after graduating college. My neighbor, Mark, M35, is staying at his parents' currently vacant home with his 3 young children. He's going through a nasty months-long divorce and is under a lot of stress because of it. Mark confessed the divorce is his fault due to his anger issues. His parents spend 6 months of the year in Florida as they are retired and are currently not around to help him, so I sometimes come over to give him a break from the kids. He's usually around the house with me on phone calls or doing paperwork, so we've had a friendship start up between us. And before you get the wrong idea, it's purely platonic. I have a boyfriend, and Mark is far too stressed with the divorce. The other day, I was talking to my parents, and they said they were proud of Mark for turning his life around after how he was as a teenager. I was a toddler during his teen years and had no idea what they were talking about, so I asked what they meant. Apparently, when he was a teenager, he fell in with a bad crowd and got involved in partying, drinking, drugs, etc. It got so bad that my parents would hear him come home at the early hours of the morning and start screaming at his parents to fuck off and just die already. He eventually got therapy and went into rehab and turned his life around, but was an absolute terror as a teen. When I was 2, our family cat Jake died. My parents always told me that we left a window open, he pushed out the screen, climbed a tree, fell, and died. During this gossip session, my parents told me the truth. Mark killed Jake with a baseball bat. Jake did escape one night by pushing out a screen, and Mark, who was 15 at the time, happened to be coming home super late again, very drunk. He saw Jake hanging out between our 2 houses, grabbed a bat from his parents' garage, and beat him to death with it before going inside like nothing happened. My parents found Jake the next day, clearly beaten, and confronted the neighbors who said they would talk to Mark about it. To my parents' knowledge, that's where the story ends. My parents were quite poor at the time, and the neighbors were helping them out a lot financially, and my parents didn't want to ruin that relationship. I was fucking horrified at learning this, and immediately felt sick to my stomach at the idea that this man who I had been spending so much time with was capable of such an act. The next day, when I was supposed to come over to help watch the kids again, I confronted Mark about the whole thing. He at first denied it happening before confessing after I kept pushing him. He said that he was just a troubled teen who made some bad choices, but he's very different now. He also said, after I pressed him for the whole story, that his parents never punished him for what he did since there was no concrete evidence, as he threw the weapon out the next day. He never even officially told them it was him, though it was basically an open secret in the house that he did it. I called him an asshole and a terrible person and told him to never speak to me again before promptly leaving. He chased after me begging me to stay and help him watch the kids, as he had an important Zoom call later that day with his lawyer and couldn't miss it. I told him to hire a babysitter and to leave me alone. He kept trying to guilt-trip me by saying he couldn't afford to pay one and that his kids would miss me, but I ignored him and went to my parents' house and closed the door. He banged on the door for a few minutes before heading back to his place. My parents heard his yelling and banging on the door and asked me what it was about. When I told him the truth, they blew up at me for punishing a man so many years after what he did, that he was a good guy now, that he really needed the help. I told them they could help marry themselves if they were so inclined, and I went to my room. My parents are now calling me an asshole and giving me the cold shoulder while helping Mark themselves. I think their reaction is insane, as Mark literally killed their cat, and they did nothing about it. My boyfriend is saying I'm in the wrong for holding this against him so many years after the fact, but he literally killed an animal. I don't want to offer my free labor to a man who killed my cat. This happened a week ago, and my parents are still refusing to really talk to me. So, Ada?